गुड मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट्स। तो आज हम शुरू करने जा रहे हैं एक बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक विच इज़ ओवरव्यू ऑफ फंडामेंटल राइट्स। ये वही राइट्स हैं जो एक सिटीज़न को डिग्निफाइड लाइफ जीने का हक देते हैं। अगर आपको याद हो, हमने लास्ट लेक्चर में बात की थी बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन की, जहां हमने देखा कि पार्लियामेंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंड कर सकती है पर उसका बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं कर सकती। नाउ बिफोर डाइविंग इनटू द इंडिविजुअल फंडामेंटल राइट्स, लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द फाउंडेशन। फंडामेंटल राइट्स क्या होते हैं, उनका क्या पर्पस है, एंड एज वी मूव फॉरवर्ड वी विल मूव टू आर्टिकल 12, जो हमें बताता है कि किसके अगेंस्ट हम अपने राइट्स को एक्सरसाइज कर सकते हैं। सबसे पहले है इंट्रोडक्शन टू फंडामेंटल राइट्स। Fundamental rights form the heart and soul. Fundamental rights form the heart and soul of our Constitution. They are those basic freedoms which every individual must have for the development of personality, dignity and equality. ये enshrined है हमारे Constitution के Part 3 में. These are given in Part 3 of the Constitution from Article 12 to 35. And Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, especially Article 32, he called that the heart and soul of our Constitution because it provides the right to move to the Supreme Court directly in the case of violation of fundamental rights. क्या पर्पस है इन फंडामेंटल राइट्स का? The idea of fundamental rights is borrowed from various sources like the Bill of Rights USA, but adapted to Indian conditions. The aim is very simple: to protect the individual from arbitrary actions of the state. State के arbitrary action से हमें protect कर सके. Fundamental rights are the cornerstone of our Indian democracy. They ensure the protection of individual liberty and equality. Part 3 में ये given है and these are justiciable, which means that they are enforceable by the courts. This is inspired by the US Bills of Rights, but again it has been modified to suit Indian conditions. Our framers had seen how British rulers misused their power, so they made sure that even a democratic government cannot cross certain limits. That is why जो हमारे fundamental rights हैं, it acts as a limitation on the state's power and guarantees the citizen the freedom that they deserve. Basically, it is framed to strike a balance between individual and social welfare. As I just told you, fundamental rights are justiciable in nature. What do we understand by justiciable? It means that in case of violation of our fundamental right, we can approach the court. Under Article 32, you can directly approach the Supreme Court, and under Article 226, you can approach the High Court. जो भी हमारे fundamental rights हैं, they are not absolute in nature. It means that उसके ऊपर भी कुछ reasonable restrictions लगाए गए हैं in the interest of public order, morality or national security. It tells the state what it cannot do. Fundamental rights को भी amend किया जा सकता है, but again it cannot violate the basic structure doctrine. Now, this was all about what are fundamental rights, क्यों हैं ये fundamental rights. Now it has been classified into various heads. This is the classification that we find under the Indian Constitution. It has been divided into 6 categories. Very first is your right to equality, which has been given to you under Article 14 to 18. Then there is right to freedom, that is under Article 19 to 22. Third is right against exploitation, Article 23-24. Right to freedom of religion provided under Article 25 to 28. Then there is cultural and educational rights that has been provided to you in Articles 29 and 30. Last and not the least is your right to constitutional remedies which is Article 32. All these fundamental rights from your Article 14 to 32, they together build a framework for free and fair society. जब भी कोई फंडामेंटल राइट वायलेट होता है, whenever there is an infringement of fundamental rights, a person can directly move to the Supreme Court under Article 32 and under Article 226. Though not a fundamental right, he can approach the High Court. ये सिर्फ moral rights नहीं हैं, they are legal enforceable rights. These are legal enforceable rights. Then, now an important question arises. अगर ये rights are there to protect us from the state, if these rights exist to protect us from the state, then exactly what a state is. That has been provided to you under Article 12. Now we are moving forward with the topic of fundamental rights as a whole. Earlier I gave you an overview, and now we are moving forward. One by one we will deal each article. In this lecture I will cover Article 12. In the next lecture I will cover Article 13, and then we'll move on to in details of fundamental rights 14 से लेके 32 तक. ठीक है. बट इन टुडेज लेक्चर विल डील विद आर्टिकल 12 फर्स्ट कि स्टेट क्या होती है, किसके अगेंस्ट हम अपने राइट को प्रोटेक्ट करने की बात कर रहे हैं. अगर कोई प्राइवेट कंपनी है या इंडिविजुअल वायलेशन भी है किसी के राइट्स का, क्या फंडामेंटल राइट्स वायलेट होते हैं? द आंसर इज नो, अनलेस दैट बॉडी इज कवर्ड अंडर आर्टिकल 12. अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग माई सेल्फ. अगर ये राइट्स हमें स्टेट से प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, देन एग्जैक्टली हु अ स्टेट इज. बिकॉज अगर कोई प्राइवेट कंपनी है या कोई इंडिविजुअल वायलेशन ऑफ राइट्स है या करता है, क्या हम कह सकते हैं कि उसके फंडामेंटल राइट्स वायलेट हो रहे हैं? आंसर वुड बी नो, बिकॉज द concerned authority needs to be falling within the ambit of Article 12. So, before we move into specific rights like equality, freedom, we must understand Article 12, which defines the very term state. Article 12 defines state for Part 3 of the Constitution, that is your fundamental rights. In this part, you will see, unless the context otherwise require, the term state includes government, Parliament of India, government and legislature of states. यानी कि government of both levels is being covered under the state, and all local or other authorities within the territory of India or under the control of government of India. The purpose is to make fundamental rights enforceable against these bodies. Simple words में अगर अब हम बात करें आर्टिकल 12 की, for the purpose of fundamental rights, स्टेट में क्या क्या आ रहा है? गवर्नमेंट आ रही है, पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया आ रहा है, यूनियन एग्जीक्यूटिव प्लस द लेजिस्लेचर. Then the government and legislature of each state is coming. All local authorities, आपकी municipalities हो गई, पंचायत हो गई, other authorities within India or under the control of the government of India. Now, government and parliament of India, the very first head में कौन लोग आएंगे आपका? President हो गया, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, the Parliament. What do you mean by Parliament? Your Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Then there is government and legislature of state. Again, it includes your governor, chief minister, state council of ministers and the state legislature. Local authorities में क्या आएगा? Municipalities हो गई, district boards हो गए, पंचायत हो गई, port trusts हो गए, etc. Other authorities, जो ये word है other authorities, this is the most debated part. कौन है ये other authorities? Are they only government departments or can statutory corporations, universities, पब्लिक एंटरप्राइजेस भी इंक्लूडेड? इन सबको अब हम समझेंगे केस लॉ के थ्रू. सबसे पहला केस लॉ, जस्ट अ सेकेंड, इट्स नॉट इन द पीपीटी. यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मद्रास वर्सेस शांताबाई 1954. University of Madras versus Shanta Bai. It is 1954. In this very case law, the court initially applied the maxim "Ejusdem generis" rule, meaning only authorities performing sovereign or governmental functions would be included. But it was a very narrower view. This was a very narrower view. Then, in the next case law, which is provided to you in the PPT, Rajasthan Electricity Board versus Mohan Lal, 1967 Supreme Court. यहाँ पे इस इंटरप्रिटेशन को वाइडन किया गया. इट सेड दैट इवन अथॉरिटीज क्रिएटेड बाय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, जो अथॉरिटी अपने एस्टैब्लिशमेंट को कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से फाइंड कर रहे हैं या किसी लॉ से फाइंड कर रहे हैं, इट हैज़ टू बी कंसिडर्ड एज स्टेट. Supreme Court widened the interpretation and said that the authorities created by the Constitution or any statute having power to make rules or regulations with force of law are state, meaning by statutory corporations are also now considered under the head of states. Then came Sukhdev Singh versus Bhagat Ram, 1975 Supreme Court. इन्होंने कहा जो ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं ONGC, LIC, IFC, ऑल आर कंसिडर्ड एज स्टेट. भले ही ये गवर्नमेंट के डिपार्टमेंट्स नहीं हैं, बट अगेन दे परफॉर्म पब्लिक ड्यूटीज़. दे परफॉर्म पब्लिक ड्यूटीज़ एंड वुड बी कंसिडर्ड स्टेट अंडर आर्टिकल 12. Then in the case law of R.D. Shetty versus International Airport Authority, the bodies performing public function would be considered as state. It introduced in this particular case law, Justice Bhagwati introduced the concept of functional and control test. If a body performs public functions and there is a deep and pervasive control by the government, it will be termed as state. It will be termed as state. Then in the case law of Ajay Hasia versus Khalid Mujib 1981, the court applied the test of financial, function and administrative control. Supreme Court in this particular case law gave the 6-factor test to determine अगर कोई इंस्टीट्यूशन स्टेट है या नहीं. क्या उस इंस्टीट्यूशन का एंटायर शेयर कैपिटल it is held by the government or not, or there is a deep and pervasive control by the government. Thirdly, public function was of great importance. Monopoly conferred or protected by state. Department of government transferred to corporation. Government funds meet almost entire expenditure. If most of these conditions are satisfied, then the concerned institution would be considered as state under Article 12. Then, in this case law, just a second, Pradeep Kumar Biswas versus Indian Institute of Chemical Biology, 2002. Pradeep Kumar Biswas versus Indian Institute of Chemical Biology, 2002 reaffirmed that the Ajay Hasia test जो हमने अभी बात की held that CSIR as state because there was deep and pervasive control by the government. Then there is a last case law which is always important case law. Zee Telefilms Limited versus Union of India, 2005. Zee Telefilms Limited versus Union of India, 2005 Supreme Court. In this particular case law, the case revolved around whether BCCI is state or not. Court said no, that it is not state under Article 12 because it is not created by a statute, it is not owned by the government, and that there is no deep or pervasive control by the government. However, since BCCI performs public functions, the court held writ petitions under Article 226 can still be filed against it in high courts. So even if an organization is not a state under Article 12, it can still be answerable under Article 226 as if it performs public duties. As if it performs public duties. Again, I'm repeating myself, in this particular case law, जो BCCI था, कोर्ट ने कहा कि इट इज़ नॉट स्टेट अंडर आर्टिकल 12 क्योंकि यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट का एज सच कोई रोल नहीं है, ना तो ये किसी लॉ से क्रिएट हुआ है, ना ये गवर्नमेंट ओन्ड है, ना गवर्नमेंट का इस पे डीप या परवेसिव कंट्रोल है. बट सिंस ये कुछ पब्लिक फंक्शंस परफॉर्म करता है तो रिट पिटिशन कैन बी फाइल्ड अंडर आर्टिकल 226 इन हाई कोर्ट. ठीक है. Now the question arises whether judiciary would be considered as state or not. क्या आप judiciary को state मानोगे या नहीं? Judiciary is not considered state when it performs judicial functions. But when it performs administrative or rule-making function, it can be covered under Article 12. It is covered under Article 12. क्यों Article 12 हमारे लिए बहुत important है? Because unless a body is recognized as state, you cannot claim violation of fundamental rights against it. It defines the scope of protection under Part 3 and ensures that all government-controlled or statutory bodies remain constitutionally accountable. In today's lecture, now what we have seen, हमने Article 12 की बात की है. सबसे पहले हमने फंडामेंटल राइट्स की बात की है, दैट दे प्रोटेक्ट द इंडिविजुअल लिबर्टी एंड डिग्निटी. देन हमने कहा कि जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स हैं दे आर एनफोर्सिएबल अगेंस्ट द स्टेट. स्टेट कहाँ डिफाइंड है? इट इज़ डिफाइंड अंडर आर्टिकल 12. द टर्म स्टेट कवर्स नॉट जस्ट गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स बट ऑल्सो स्टैट्यूटरी एंड गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल्ड बॉडीज. हमने बहुत सारे केस लॉज देखे, RD शेट्टी, अजय हेसिया, प्रदीप कुमार बिस्वास, जहाँ पे हमने स्कोप ऑफ स्टेट की बात की, हमने स्टेट के स्कोप की बात की. फिर लास्टली हमने ये जी टेलीफिल्म्स वाला केस देखा. So, Article 12 acts as a gateway to Part 3, ensuring that wherever public power exists, constitutional responsibility follows. So, that was all about the overview of your fundamental rights and Article 12, defining state. In the next lecture, we'll begin with Article 13, which defines कि what law is, क्या law का meaning है, and how जो law fundamental rights से inconsistent है, हम उनके लिए क्या action लेते हैं. हम उनके लिए क्या एक्शन लेते हैं. थैंक यू वेरी मच.